Pedro from A&P-REACTS. I'm here today with Terry of Scar of the Sun to talk about the new record, Inertia, out May 14th on Napalm Records. How are you doing?
Not bad at all. It's a quite busy period of time, you know, a lot of interviews and a lot of things going around the release. But that's fine. We're very happy about it, and we're very pleased for the fact that the album is finally released.
So yesterday, or a couple of days ago, when I posted my review, we talked messages back and forth between the two of us about some of the things that I said on my review and some of your thoughts, and we're going to get into that. But before,
sure.
By the way, that was really cool of you to reach out. So I want to say thank you for you taking the time to reach out to me and let me know what kind of an idiot I am for the things that I said in the review.
You're not an idiot at all. It's what you said is absolutely fine by us. I explained that to you. We have no problem. It's just that I wanted to point out our point of view, and also the fact that there are some other reviewers that say the totally opposite, which is a funny thing. You know, you will never have. Yeah. It's a point of view, man, and that's absolutely fine. We have no problem at all. You know?
Yeah, it all comes down to art, right? Like, and everybody
for sure
watches, listens to it, and appreciates it in a different way and comes from a different angle. So I want to pick up on some of the topics that we talked off camera. But before we get into that, let me ask you about the theme of the record, social injustice. Where did that idea come from to really center the album around that topic?
First of all, I have to say that in all the Scar of the Sun albums, I'm talking about things that are happening in my life and around me generally, you know. So as you probably know, for the last 10 years, Greece was under a very, very serious financial crisis, and the whole country was kind of something like a financial experiment, you know, not only for Europe, but also for the world, because the States were also involved through IMF. And we went some very, very hard times over here in Greece. So the question you're asking is, you know, it's actually, I would say, obvious, because social injustice is everywhere. It's just next to you, next to me, next to everyone, you know. It's just that the shock is on a constant basis, in a way that we take it for granted, you know. We live in such conditions. It's okay, but it's not okay, you know. For me, it's not okay to be in 2021 and sending spaceships to Mars, and at the same time having homeless people and people without water or electricity on Earth. And it might sound, I don't know, weird for some people, but you know, it's happening. And to me, it's completely stupid, and I cannot explain how we reached for the last 100 years the Industrial Revolution, and at the same time we're destroying the planet, and we don't care about what is happening just next to us. You know, that's why I was, you know, I wrote about all these subjects, and especially for the things that happened in Greece during the last 10 years, because we've seen some really hard things, like the European Union decided to shut down our banks, and we could only pick 60 euros per day, which is something like, I don't know, $70 US, you know. And that happened because the Greek Prime Minister called for a referendum. So, you know, this is a coup, man. It's not democracy. Supposedly we have referendums in order for people to decide, and whenever you call for a referendum and some people don't like it, they just do everything they can in order to stop it, you know. And then we had people jumping off of buildings. We had the 80-year-old people searching on garbage to find something to eat. And this is what, a European Union country in the 21st century. No, it's not. You know, to me, it's not like that. And I'm very sad I can't accept such things. You know, so I had to take them out of my chest and have something to scream when I'm singing. You know, because unfortunately I am more influenced by negative stuff about my lyrics. You know, and it's just so that when I use such lyrics, I keep a balance, and you know, and otherwise, you have to take it out somewhere, you know. I just take it out on music, and I feel better like that.
I think it's human nature for people to ask for others' opinions, and then when the opinion goes against what you believe, you dismiss the opinion from that point on. You're always looking for somebody to come back at you with something that goes in touch with what you're thinking. You know, I see that in my own personal life all the time. How did the theme and everything that's surrounding you over these past 10 years, like you said, life in Greece has been really tough over this period of time. So how did that then impact the creative record? How do you merge the surroundings, the theme of the album, what's inspiring you with the actual creation of the music?
First of all, the lyrics come last. It's the last thing I write. But every time I finish an album, I start a list with topics that I want to talk about. So I have like 10 topics, and whenever a song is coming, I'm the atmosphere that this song gives to me, you know, creates to me. I go to my list and I match it with the relative topic that I want to talk about. So obviously there are some topics that I don't use, because if the music doesn't inspire me to write about something, I'm not gonna, you know, push it. The overall atmosphere, if you want, in Scar of the Sun's music is not happy. It's more dramatic. It's more dark, but in I don't know how to put it, in dark, but not as in, you know, black metal dark. It's dark as it's a dramatic situation that we have been through all these years, and that gives me the inspiration. So this kind of music is the music that we compose anyway. So whenever I get a song from the guys, or if I compose the music, then I check my list and I say, okay, this song, we'll talk about this, and then I start writing the lyrics. At least that's my procedure.
Outside of the theme for this record, what do you feel sets this album apart from the previous albums?
First of all, it's both musically and from the vocal part, it's much more aggressive, you know. I find the first two albums a bit closer to each other. They were also a bit more progressive. I think that this is more direct. The songs are more simple in regards of the structure. And if you ask me, it's the thing that we have the opposite opinion. To me, this is much. This album I would call.
I was smoothing you into that topic.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, for us, this is at least how we see it, and many people see it like that. It's the most focused album we have done so far, because we like to use many elements and you know, blend them and create our own style. But I think that this album was more focused overall. According to us, not just me, you know.
According to us, I love that. I love that you add that little jab there at the end. When you're looking at the track listing for this record, the first thing that jumped at me is that it felt like the album had almost a feel for different chapters. There's different parts of the record that, even though the atmosphere is similar across all of them, you get something different out of these different pieces. Do you see the track listing of the album that way, or do you see it differently?
No, I agree with you, and it's something that we really like. It's like a journey, you know. You go from something. It's something like the real life, you know. You start from something heavier, then you go to something more mellow, more slow. It's I would say it's you know, it's a dynamic journey. So this way, it gets more interesting for us. We don't want to have a certain feeling from start to end. It feels flat for us, you know. We like to go up and down and also intrigue the listener like that, because, you know, somebody would listen to the first song and he might think that, oh, okay, we have an album of Swedish death metal, but then, you know, it's something different. So although I think that they blend with each other, and there is a certain character, you know, also the vocals help on that. But yeah, we don't like to have things flat. We like to have this journey, the ups and downs, and the different chapters, as you said, you know. We see it like that.
Was there a reason why you guys divided Quantum Leap Zero? Like, I understand the reason why there's 3 pieces to that song, But is there a reason why you have piece 1, piece 2, and then there's a break, and then you have piece 3? Why not put them all 3 in sequence?
First of all, I have to say here that Quantum Leap Zero is a song that was connected lyrically. It wasn't intended to be like that from a music perspective. I had these topics and I saw that these 3 songs match completely to what I wanted to write. And instead of writing just 1 song, I divided into 3 parts. So the reason why we have 3 songs is that all 3 songs represent a different part of the story, you know. Sometimes you have a trilogy, you know, the songs, or more than a trilogy. You have all the songs one after the other, but in some progressive rock albums of the 70s especially, you could see a reprise of that song. For example, let's speak about Wish You Were Here from Pink Floyd, that you have the song in the beginning and then you have the final part later. So I picked the songs, the 3 songs, in order to write all the things I wanted to write about, and it worked very well eventually. You know, all the feeling that I wanted to pass on these 3 songs, it matched completely to the music also, you know. And to be honest with you, the guys found out that these 3 songs will be a trilogy quite late in the process, you know, because I deal with all the lyrics. So I presented it to them and I said, okay, this is the trilogy, guys, order, because that's how it works, you know. And they were okay, obviously. And we decided also to put the last song later on because it seemed also more interesting, you know. We thought that people would ask, why didn't you put all the 3 songs together? But there's no law that you know, or rule that
you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. I mean, it's intriguing also the fact that you have the first 2 songs and then somebody sees the track list and says, oh, there's the 3rd part for that song, you know? So, you know, that's why we did it like that.
One thing I really liked about those 3 songs is that musically they're very different. And it really allows the lyrics to come to life because you're going through a journey within the journey of the record. Those 3 songs give you an inner journey, if you will, maybe a more introspective journey within the whole design of the album. I like the fact that musically they were very different from each other because it really accentuated the content of the lyrics, and it helped those lyrics come to life. Do you find that as well? Was that the reason why you went a little bit more differently musically from track to track?
You mean overall or just for the trilogy?
No, just those 3.
Yes, because as I said to you before, the 3 parts talk about 3 different time periods of the same story, you know. So the first part, for example, it represents the song Torque Control. It represents the time of before the elections in Greece of 2015, where people were boiling, you know. You could see that there's something coming, an uprising or something, you know, and the feeling that we cannot take that anymore, that it's enough, you know, we can't take it. So this song is a dramatic but also heavy song because it's the rising aggression, you know. That's why the vocals are combined, and you listen the more melodic parts and some more mystique, I would say, into the vocals overall. And then you have Transition to Turbulence, which is probably my favorite song on the album. And it's the actual revolution and the first glimpse of a win that we thought that happened eventually. And so this song is like, yes, we made it. It's like, you know, we're happy about this, and we managed to give a punch as well. We're getting punches all this time, and now we gave a punch. The song is heavier, so directly matches the whole thing. And then you have the last part, which is the second defeat, you know, and the punishment eventually. So that song also is a bit bitter, you know, because eventually states that financial interests will always win against democracy, humanity, and most of all, logic. There's nothing that can beat financial interests, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the case. It seems not just in Greece, but all around the world. It seems
no, everywhere. Of course.
Money drives the machine.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, one of the things that we talked about off camera, once I posted my review, we went back and forth about how I felt about the fluidity of the album, the connection with the album. So I thought, since I have you on, let's bring that conversation from the text messages onto the video.
Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about it. I mentioned to you that I felt like at times when I was listening to the record, it felt to me that I was listening to different bands depending on which song I was in, that it had this sense of giving me different feelings. The tracks were very diverse in their approach. And your answer to me, that's exactly what we wanted. We want the album to be diverse. We don't want things to be flat. Now, can you create an album that is that diverse, but somehow still stays connected so that it doesn't feel like you're breaking as far apart from track to track? Or you don't see it that way? You see it that there's still some sort of continuation within the record itself?
For me, there's a coherence, probably because it's, as I said to you before, our previous albums were more wild. But I was thinking about it yesterday, for example, after we discussed. And I was thinking, for example, Kill Switch Engage, you listen to one song, which is the almost pop rock song. And then the next song has blast beats with brutal death metal vocals in the vein of Cannibal Corpse. And I'm like, to me, this is much wider, approach than ours, for example. But then all the bands that we were inspired, like Orphan Land, for example, when their album Mabul in 2003 or 4, I think, they have everything in there. They have progressive metal, death metal, power metal, oriental metal, symphonic metal, they have clean vocals, they have brutal vocals, they have so much stuff going on. And another band that was a big influence for us in the beginning was Funeral for a Friend, kind of like a metalcore band from Wales, England. Again, they had parts like Iron Maiden, and then they were going to brutal death metal, then they were going to Swedish death metal, and then they were going to pop rock, like bands like, 30 Seconds to Mars, and we loved that thing, we absolutely liked the fact that it's possible to combine all that stuff. But on the other hand, I understand that some people find it hard to digest it, and I'm absolutely okay with that. It makes sense. I don't say that people that they cannot get it, they're wrong. No, there's no wrong and there's no right. It's a point of view, and everything is acceptable. Because when you release an album, you're definitely going to listen to different opinions.
Yeah, I think for me, what I took from it was it depends on how you come in with the mindset that you have coming into the record, right? So when I first started listening to the album, I was in the mindset that I'm going to listen to this album from the first to the last song, and I want to see a clear path that takes me from point A to point B. And when I didn't find that clear path, I felt a little bit lost within the record. It takes nothing away from the quality of the album, because on a song-by-song basis, the quality is there. It's just that I didn't feel necessarily connected with it. And then I start thinking, okay, maybe I'm taking the wrong approach. So if I approach the record as a playlist, like I create a playlist, and then I listen to the album, I didn't have that problem anymore, because then I was not concentrating on how I'm going to go from song to song, but rather how am I going to enjoy each song individually. And then the problem went away. So I think it comes down to a personal perception and what you're thinking even before you press play.
Yeah. My point of view is that if you listen to our album and you accept to go from point A to point B through a straight line, it's never going to happen. From us, point A to point, for us, point A to point B, it will be like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's like a movie. When you watch a movie, it's not one thing happening constantly. You will have changes. You will have surprises. You will have things you didn't expect. You will have some weird turns, and the weirdest the scenario, the most interesting the movie for us. That's how we see it. If you see a flat movie, it will be boring. For us, always. That's why I say, because it's not that I have anything against that, but you would expect that from bands like Motorhead that I absolutely love, or AC/DC, or Accept, But for us, it's about dynamics. It's about going to a journey. So that's why we compose music like that. And, you know, that's our point of view, but it's absolutely fine if somebody wants to see it, like you said, you know, like a playlist. But, you know, for us, there's a cohesion there, but, you know, no problem.
I love your attitude. You're the greatest, man. You're the greatest.
Well, as I said to you, the same day we received the review from a Finnish website that was saying that I wanted more variety on this album, you know, so.
You can never make everybody happy.
Exactly. You
know, like it's impossible.
Exactly.
Now, one thing that made me really happy about this album was the vocals. All right. Like I really love it was a record that I love them both, but if you put me against the wall, the clean vocals were just like, give me goosebumps at times, because I felt like they really captured the emotion, the raw emotion of the lyrics was perhaps better captured in those clean vocals. How do you approach an album like this? And how do you decide with which angle to take on the vocals?
First of all, thank you very, very much. This is very, very important for me. You know, what you say, it's a huge honor to listen, you know. Usually the more melodic parts are the parts that I will use clean vocals. But in the past, in the first album, I didn't have any brutal vocals at all. So I was trying to feed clean vocals even in more heavy parts. Now, this is the only question really with brutal vocals. Where are you going to put brutal vocals and where are you going to put clean vocals? For me, it's more obvious where you're going to put clean vocals, because that's what I was doing for all these years, you know. This is the first album that I'm doing brutal vocals, and I had this question in my mind all the time. But I don't know, just, you know, I was just listening to the songs and I was deciding, all right, I'm gonna put a brutal vocal verse here. There's not a certain rule or something, and I don't know what to say. Actually, it was, you know,
organic,
exactly what the song was giving to me. But for the clean vocals, I would have to say that I'm not really influenced by traditional heavy metal singers, you know. My main influences are, you know, singers like David Gahan from Depeche Mode, or the guy that sings in Pet Shop Boys, or even singers like David Gilmour of Pink Floyd, you know. They're not doing so much with their voice in order to show off. And that's something that I really like, you know. I prefer to have really intense melodies instead of showing off technique, which to me sometimes means nothing, you know. So I don't know, the songs also helped me a lot, because all the vocals that I do, I add them at the end. So if a song gives me a good feeling about the vocals will be okay for me, you know. It's literally what I get from the music, and you know, that's how I work with the vocal lines.
With the harsh vocals being a little bit of a new paradigm for you in the band on this record, did you feel a little bit uncomfortable at times?
It took me some time to practice and reach the level that I wanted to reach. And also, it took some time to stabilize the sound, because whenever you reach the point that you say, okay, this is the sound that I want to have on my vocals, you have to be able to repeat it. And this is, you know, quite hard. So there were times that I was going to the studio to do some harsh vocals, and I was pressing record, and it wasn't there. So I tried a little bit, like half an hour, and then I just left the session, going home, and then trying again after a couple of days or 3 days. So yeah, it took me some time. But I think that at the end I reached the result that I wanted. So I'm happy with the brutal vocals as well. Obviously, as time goes by, I become more experienced. So I believe that I become even better, because you have to know that it takes touring as well by doing this kind of vocals in order to be even better, you know? So I think that in the next album, the brutal vocals will be probably even better.
Now, as you look at the finished product, what was the most challenging aspect of putting this whole record together?
First of all, our music is very detailed. So I had to make everything clear, you know. I wanted everybody to be able to listen to every single detail. And because our music, it takes a few spins more, you know, in order to find out what is going on. Our songs are quite busy, you know. I wanted to be able to make everything audible, but since the drum recording was the first thing it happened, it happened back in 2017. I would have to say that my biggest problem is something that you are probably the only person that spotted, and this was the cymbals. And that was because we used a certain China cymbal that completely destroyed the whole sound of the overheads when it was playing. So I didn't have, on my computer, I didn't have at the time a tool that I have now, that it's actually a new program that helps you deal with such problems. But at the time it wasn't out even. So it was a huge challenge to bring the cymbals where I wanted to. And I didn't manage to do that completely. I just managed to cover it a little bit, if you want. But other than that, I didn't find any specific problems, to be honest with you. Everything was okay for me, you know.
One last question for you about this record, and that is, as you take a look at the album, you take a look at the hardships that got you to this point. The album is ready. It's going to be out. What is the one major strength that this album has above all others that you guys have released in the past?
Overall, we were always a band that wanted to compose catchy songs, you know, and catchy music. I think that on this album, we have by far the most catchy songs. And since they are a bit more simple, I think that it is possible to reach a wider audience. Obviously, if you have in mind also that it's the first album we released with Napalm Records, that directly gets you exposed to a wider audience. I think that this is something that would probably make this album stand out in comparison to the previous one. And by that, I mean that we have like 5 or 6 songs that, or even maybe more even, you know, that people can listen and have them stuck on their mind and make them sing them constantly, you know. This is something that I like as well. You know, when I listen to music, I appreciate more complex stuff and more progressive stuff, but the songs that will make you wanna listen to them again and sing them are the ones that will always have a special place in my heart. And I think that on this album, the songs are closer to that in comparison to the previous 2 albums, you know.
Well, on that note, Terry, thank you very much for your time today. Best of luck for you and the guys with the release of the new album, Inertia. I can only wish you great things. You're a great guy, great dude. Thanks for reaching out. Thanks for taking the time today, man. Best of luck to you and the band.
Thank you very much for everything. We really like the review. We are all the guys in the band were thrilled, you know, about your review. From my point of view, I would just have to say, you know, that I wish everyone to stay safe. We're going through some very hard times, but I think that it seems that there's some light at the end of the tunnel. And hopefully we will have the chance to tour the States for the first time at some point, you know. And if you see us playing around there, just, you know, send us a message and we'll get you on the show and have the chance to talk face to face, you know.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'll definitely be reaching out once I see that you guys are coming to this side of the Atlantic, or if I go to that side of the Atlantic. All my family is in Portugal, so maybe I'll come and visit you guys at some point in time. Once again, thank you. All the best with the release, with the album.
You too, man.
Say hi to everybody. Stay well and take care of yourself.
Thanks, man. Thanks very much.